You can't enjoy anything anymore. I didn't want money. I wanted my life back.
I knew that she didn't trust me because I, after all, had been suggested by her insurance company.
I can understand why some people sort of jump off a cliff.
Chronic pain is such a highly stigmatised phenomenon. The experience of chronic pain is not recognised by state or federal government as a condition in its own right. We all know that chronic pain is such a common problem. The Access Economics report of 2007 put the number at $34 billion per year. One in 3 Australians is experiencing chronic pain. Maybe 1 in 6 is disabled by chronic pain.
The whole problem started back in 2003. I played the White Witch in The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And at my own suggestion, I found out that she was one of a giant family. And I said, look, I'm a stilt walker from way back. So they said, oh, brilliant, what a great idea. So I actually, when we first started doing Lion, Witch and Wardrobe, I was about 8 foot tall. But when they made me the stilts, I could see right from the start that there was going to be a problem. What they did was to make boots that locked my ankle. They made me boots, which I didn't want. I just wanted them to strap stilts to my feet, but they didn't trust that I'd be able to stand up. Having been a dancer all my life, I have very, very strong legs. So they insisted on putting it in rollerblading boots. So they built the stilts with rollerblading boots, which locked my ankle, which in turn locked my hip flexor, and that in turn went eventually round to my back and gave me the most chronic sciatica and a bulging disc. I think it was called lumbar 5 and SL1. This was the start of an unending relationship with drugs, masseurs, with acupuncture, with someone actually put me into an electronic bath. I was searching for anything that would stop the pain. The pain was excruciating. Hello, Enda. I'm good, my darling. I was still on the road with the show, and it didn't matter how much I screamed and shouted, and I said, it's the stilts, they have been made wrongly. Because my ankle is locked, I can't get any traction with the rest of my legs and my hips. But you're an actor, nobody listens to you. I'm due in at 1:45. Okay, okay, darling. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. I'm feeling just fine. I will call you later just to make sure you're doing okay with everything. I also have your umbrella. Are you waiting for me? I got very depressed because of the pain. I couldn't cough. I couldn't even sit on the loo. It's the most debilitating pain I have ever had. And being on the road, I was going to all different doctors hoping that I would find a cure. We could go for a walk on the balcony. Come on. Did you lock this? I must have locked it. Come on. Someone actually put me on this epilepsy pill to try and get rid of the pain. It didn't work for me because I'm not an epileptic. So I was trying all these things, and I was taking Nurofen like 8 times a day, Panadol, anything I could get my hands on. Plus I was drinking, because one of the few things that really helped was the alcohol. That seemed to relax me, as it does most people. It broke up a relationship with a most wonderful man that I had known since 1998. And it was just, I couldn't do anything. For 18 months, I was depressed, I was in pain, I didn't want to do anything or go anywhere. And I just said to him, look, this is ridiculous, because basically I couldn't even make love. It was so bad. And I said, go, fly, find another woman. And he did. I couldn't have sex with my partner. I couldn't move. So then I put on weight and then I got depressed. I mean, it was such a vicious circle. I think what people don't realize is that when you've got a back problem, you can't do anything. You can't cough. To sneeze hurts. To wee hurts. To do other things hurts. To be in a car and you're going over bumps, and every bump that you go over is excruciating. Your quality of life is gone. You can't enjoy anything anymore. I felt so isolated. I felt very alone. Because you go through a thing of nobody cares, nobody knows what I'm going through, and your friends get sick to death of you saying, I can't, I'm in so much pain, I can't. You know, they can, friends, I mean, really close friends didn't, they were wonderful, but ordinary people that you meet every day, you know, they just don't understand what it is that you're going through. The isolation, you feel such an idiot. And I felt like my life was over. I eventually was told by a very dear friend to contact Chronic Pain Australia, which I did, out of sheer frustration, and I can't tell you, I was just so low. And I got on to Coralie Wales. And she said, please bring every drug that you've taken in the last 6 months or a year, or a list of what you've been taking. So I then started to go through my cupboard, and it filled a bag. She said, show me what you've been taking, and I emptied this bag of all the drugs that all the doctors had given me for pain. And her jaw, to coin a phrase of Shirley Valentine, her jaw dropped into her handbag. She couldn't believe it. And on top of that, I said, I've been having wine and gin and tonic to try and do anything to stop the pain. And she looked at me and she said, it's a miracle that you're still alive. With the food that they told me to eat and the exercise regime, I'm cured. Don't you turn your nose up at that. That is fresh kangaroo meat. When you go for jobs as an actor, you want to feel, you've got to be in tip-top form in order to get parts. You know, you can't have the feeling of pain in your face. It just doesn't look good on camera, or when you're auditioning for anything, for just a straight play or a musical or anything, or cabaret. Harry, you know, I would love to take you for a walk, but I have to go in and rehearse. I can't even take you with me because for some reason people don't believe that you're human. They think you're a dog. And I know you didn't get a walk last night, and I know you haven't had one this morning, but what can I do? Not a dog in sight, because they're all too clever. They know that they'll get really wet. This fear grips your heart and you think, supposing I say yes to taking this job and halfway through it I fall in a heap of sciatica and I can't do it. I'm sorry, mate. You're afraid to go forward, you're afraid to put one foot in front of the other. You get to the point where you don't want anyone to know in the business, because it could, in fact, you know, don't use her, she's got problems with her back or leg or something. And that's why I'm so thrilled that I'm in the position I am now, not having any pain. You need to press your windscreen. You know why? Because you need to put it on the other, yeah. So here I am, ready to do a rehearsal of Side by Side by Sondheim at the Theatre Royal. On the worst day in Christendom. I'm soaked now like a rat, but who cares? They're only interested in the voice, not how I look. How are you, my darling? Oh God, did you? God, look at my hair. Hello?
Hello.
Are you? Who are you?
Andrew.
Andrew?
I'm director.
Oh, you're the director. I haven't
Good to see you.
met
How are you, Amanda? Nice
I'm
to see
good,
you.
darling, because Andrew is also the stage manager.
That's right. You're looking for Andrew, who's at lunch.
My God, when I think of how many shows I've done here. So many. It's beautiful. You get nosebleeds, though, up in the gods, which can be painful. I'm back dancing and playing the idiot again, you know, playing a fool with my body. So I consider myself very, very lucky.
I used to drive a truck. I enjoyed that very much. It's basically freedom. Once you're in that truck and you're on the go and you're driving, especially when you do a country trip, it's relaxing, it's just good. It's really good. No one will employ me again, probably.
Don't even think that way, because until you get rid of that, it's not, you know, your nervous system's not going to have a chance to calm down, and that's the problem.
59 this year.
I guess you've got to take your cues off other people that have been there and what their future, what happens in their future. And remember that it's all about what the brain decides to do.
Funny you say that, because when I used to hear of people having back problems, you say, oh, you're so... Oh, no, I won't lay down. See, now when I bend over with that back pain, it comes through the groin and down into the, you know, and I'm not even sitting down. I just finished work and I went to walk down a staircase. The staircase was damp and had leaves and was a bit greasy. I got to the top of the staircase and I lost my footing. Feet went from under me. I went down on my back on the stairs. There was two guys in front of me. One of them was my supervisor. They went to pick me up and the pain that I experienced when I hit that deck was just unbearable. I got in my car and went home. Woke up next morning and I could barely walk on my left leg. Looked down, my ankle was swollen, my knee was playing up, my back was sore, but it wasn't too bad. It was sore, but it felt like it was stiff and sore. Anyway, I went to work and they sent me home when they see me, and it all started from there. I went to the doctors and I went to this first GP, and I kept on complaining that my back was getting worse. He wouldn't send me for an MRI, so I eventually just turned around and said, look, I'm going to go and change doctors. They sent me for the MRI and found out I had tears in the ankle, tears in the knee, and my back split disc in the back. Cortisone injections in the spine, which didn't work. Botox in the back, which didn't work. And then I eventually had the surgery. The two medics that came in to give me my needle, I said, I hope this works. And they asked me why. I said, because I got an audition with Tap Dogs next Saturday. My first meeting with the doctor after the surgery, he said, yeah, he said the disc had actually completely collapsed, rotted, dried up and it was pushing on the nerves. And didn't show up in the MRI. Wasn't showing up in the MRI. And I woke up the next day and I had a terrible pain in my groin, my left groin. And I pushed the buzzer and called the nurse in and I said, look, I said, I've got a really bad pain in my groin. I said, my back's okay. I said, but my groin, there's a terrible pain there. And she explained to me that I'd just had major surgery and you have to expect these sort of things happening. Went to my doctor, he sent me to physio. I couldn't do the physio. The guy from physio stopped it because I just couldn't do it. I went into the pool. It's only got steps, it hasn't got a gradual thing you walk in. It's got steps. I'm like a triantula climbing up a slippery wall, trying to get out of those steps. I can't because of the pain. And your body, when you've been in the pool for so long, your body's so relaxed. You feel like Gumby anyway. So I turned to the drink a bit, which I never drank. But yeah, totally, you don't know where you're going to end up. That's basically what's happening. You don't know where you're going to end up, and it's scary. I can understand why some people sort of jump off a cliff, because it gets you to that stage. It really does. I'm worse since the surgery. About half hour after the painkillers strike in, they sort of make you a bit drowsy, so I'll go and lay down. And basically that's all I do. Stare in the air. I've really gone backwards. I think most of the time they don't know what the hell's going on, they can't work out what's going on, and they send you to these programs as a guinea pig. Anyone that hasn't had real pain, how can they teach you how to deal with your real pain? You know, I find that very hard to believe anyone can do that. I used to do a bit of stage work, I used to get up and sing and that. I don't do that anymore. They get me back to work and realise I can't do it, they're going to sack me.
All I can tell you is what other people tell me, and that is that after a long period of being involved in the insurance industry, as a person that's experiencing pain, the two don't work very well together. So what a lot of people say is that it's not until that is behind them and in the past that their life starts to change for the better. So it's about being in control, it's about feeling like you've got some control about the decisions that are being made and that they're your decisions. And then it's a whole different ball game because you are then in the driver's seat, and I think that's a really important...
So what do you suggest I do?
I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you what to do. I can only tell you what other people say. And I can suggest that you talk to other people who've been through this.
How do you find them? But I don't want to talk over the net or over a phone.
I will
want
ask Margaret
to physically
I will
talk
ask
like you
Margaret
and I now. If would you like your job back and be fit again, or I'll give you $10 million, I'd probably turn around and say, well, can you give me $5 million and I'll go back to work? I'm going to only pop some painkillers and go lay down. When I used to hear of people having back problems, they say, oh, you sook.
I was a young teenager, just starting life really. I played sport, used to go to the gym, and life I thought was great. And then all of a sudden one day, I was driving in Newcastle, stopped at a pedestrian crossing, and then next thing I knew, somebody ran up the back of me. In the next couple of days I started to experience pain. Initially it started in my neck, down into my shoulders, and as time moved on it went basically the whole length of my body. Life was not what it was. I couldn't do anything. I was this active person and all of a sudden I was completely disabled by my pain. I couldn't go and play sport anymore. I couldn't play netball that I loved playing. I wasn't able to work. Although I did continue to work, I worked with a lot of pain. I'd go home at night and I'd lay on the floor and cry because I was in so much pain. I was told that I would never have children, that I'd probably never exercise again, I'd never play sport. So for me, there was no hope. I found myself on the, I suppose what you could call it was the compensation merry-go-round, seeing doctors, trying to get answers, where no doctors gave answers. I was having physiotherapy and that wasn't working. I was referred to psychologists who wanted to medicate me, which I wasn't really very happy with, but they, in the end, put a lot of pressure on me to take the medication to help my pain, and I did, and that, I think, made things go worse. I was dealing with an insurer that didn't seem to want to help. All they wanted to do was get me out of their books, basically, I suppose you could say. And every time I called them to try and get help or try to ask them if they could give me answers, they were terrible. They were actually screaming at me over the phone and told me that if it was money that I wanted, then that we can settle right now. Now that really made me upset and cranky because I didn't want money, I wanted my life back. Eventually, one day, I was referred to yet another rehab provider.
For 2 hours she cried. For 2 hours I stood with her. She rocked against the back of the chair. I knew that she didn't know how to take me because I was not doing the normal rehabby things. We were really just getting to know each other.
I was very wary because I'd been through this so many times and told my story and basically made to feel like a fraud.
Little by little, bits and pieces of explaining pain came out. I asked her to go away and think about it all and whether she wanted to engage with this program, because it's my view that even in a compensation system you should have the final right as a person in that system to say, yes, I do want to work with this person, or no, I don't.
It was amazing to find somebody that actually cared, that didn't look at you as a number or somebody who was trying to beat the system or be fraudulent. They actually realised that you were in pain and that what you were saying was true. I started to realise that there was somebody out there that could help, that there was hope, and that maybe there was answers to help me.
After a while, Kimberly went back into the gym with our exercise physiologist. We'd been explaining pain the whole time.
I was really, really scared, and I didn't think that I could do it because I hadn't been able to do anything for so long. The best I could really do was sit, and that even hurt. So to start doing these sort of exercises was very traumatic, but I did it because I knew that I had to get better and something had to work sometime.
Kimberly was now understanding that there is a real message when you're frightened, when you're angry, when you're distressed, when you're frustrated. These are the adrenaline emotions, and these are the ones that fire up pain. So she was very good at being able to identify when she was having those moments, and we were having an ongoing conversation about these sorts of emotions, and she got it.
During the time of trying to do these exercises, I'd cry and not do a lot at first because I didn't believe that I could do them. So I would cry and just look at people and think, I'm never going to be able to do that. That's just not going to be possible.
As I began to be able to do things again, I felt good. Life did have hope, and I felt that maybe one day I could get back to the person that I was and achieve again. I tentatively put my foot onto the treadmill. My whole body was stiff and I was scared, and I slowly started to walk. I only did a minute initially, but it was enough to make me have a little bit of hope that maybe I could do this one day. Over time, weeks and months, I built up my tolerance of time and speed. So the speed slowly started to increase as I found that my tolerances increased.
So one day she had finished her program and she was still improving. She still knew what she had to do, and she was doing a little bit more work, a little bit more this, a little bit more that. Walking along, and I'm just listening, and there's a big puddle, and Kimberly's in mid-flight, you know, yak, 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 and she jumps over this puddle. And I just noticed it because this is a girl that is not able to do aerobics yet because she's frightened of jumping, you see, and she's just jumped over this puddle.
I couldn't believe it. It was surreal, really, because I hadn't been able to do anything like that, and I don't think that my mind had caught up with my body. My body was actually now able to do things that I was too scared of doing, and that my mind was saying you can't do, but yet I did it. I was running and I couldn't believe it. I was actually running again, and that moment was overwhelming. It was unbelievable to think that I was back to where I was.
Despite all of the doom and gloom that she'd experienced in the couple of years before she met us and we started working with her, she went on to have 2 babies, despite the medical advice that she wouldn't have babies. And she's living a perfectly normal, wonderful life. That girl won prizes when she went back to netball. She went back to full-time gym.
I never ever thought it would be possible.
Because you are walking beside them always as equals, you tend to live what they're living. But it's no use living what they're living if it makes you useless. So I guess I tend to always be reframing, but partnering. I'm a great one for reaching out even physically. Somebody's crying and actually reaching out and just being with them. I'm sorry, mate.
I'm pure!
$60.